I thought today I would talk about freedom and resistance. And if you look at our personality, all of us, we are longing for this freedom, you know. And every time we long for freedom, we meet our resistance. So we meet certain core identity beliefs about who we are that we need to transform if we want to go to the next level of freedom in our life. Okay. So for a long, long time, this is something that's really, interested me, like what is this resistance inside of us? And, you could say that is our shadow side, right? Inside. And so what is the right relationship? What is the most easiest relationship to resistance so that our freedom can manifest more smoothly? I think that's the question that I want to address today. What's the right relationship? What's the most relaxed relationship? Not right. If we have right, we'll put a pressure on ourselves. What's the most relaxed relationship we can have to our resistance to more freedom? And that freedom for many of us will be expressed in our own unique ways. So for example, some of you may be dealing with some very difficult health issues. And so for you, freedom is getting to that new level of health and vitality that your spirit is saying is very possible, okay? So we need to understand that whatever level of freedom we're looking for, at the deeper dimensions of us, for example, at the soul level, there's no resistance. There's no such thing as resistance at the soul level or at the oversoul level, at our spirit level. That's a level, a deeper dimension inside of us that is functioning in eternal time. It's creating, in the moment, and there's no resistance to that creation. It's a total freedom, a total freedom. So if you look around at all human beings, we all long for this freedom. We're all longing for this ability to create, to create the next level in our evolution, the next level of health and vitality, the next level of personal satisfaction or empowerment. So this is the most natural longing, I would say, in every human soul, is for more freedom, So that's obvious that we have that. And then, of course, we also have the resistance to that, the resistance to that next level of freedom. So I've put a little diagram here from a colleague of mine who's also involved in bodywork. He's a Chin-San teacher. His name is Jill Marin. And I love this, the way he clarifies how we grow. And I thought I'd just share a quote, and so he says, the learning curve is a succession of sudden and irregular upward steps, always followed by a slight regression. Healing as well as learning happens all of a sudden after effort or stagnation, where we often feel we are regressing. Okay, so I think in a very wonderful way, he's put in words something that we all feel. We all feel this, like I'm so close to a breakthrough, but at the same time, it's like that resistance is growing inside of us. It's almost like those beliefs, those core beliefs that we actually have to shift. These are always identity level beliefs that we have to shift. That's our resistance, all right? So my question has been, how can we be more relaxed with that process? How can we be more easy with that process so that we're not getting in our soul's way? We're not getting in the soul's way. So I've quoted something here. I've said that trust, the virtue of trust, is basically being comfortable with uncomfort. So it sounds a little bit of a paradox, becoming comfortable with uncomfort. So there's no doubt that when we set an intention for our life, when we say, I want to have better health, in that moment, we will meet, as soon as we say, I want to have better health, we will see and experience all the parts of us inside of us that are not healthy or that have deep-seated beliefs that we can never be healthy, you know, and this is our resistance. This is, and it doesn't really matter where it came from, you know. That's really important to understand as well. It doesn't really matter where it comes from. The fact is, if we're in this dimension, we will have resistance. So everything that I've developed in my life, like OFT, which is, you know, this unconditional touch on the spine to relax the resistance in a way. This is what OFT is about, you know, and the inner alchemy practices like the inner smile. The inner smile is the ultimate way to relax with this resistance that we feel inside of us. So the inner smile is about recognizing that we have a soul, that we have an immortal spirit that is much more free than our personality. You know, so I'll say that again. The inner smile is recognizing that we have a spirit, a soul that is free, that can create endlessly and has been for all eternity, creating. And this is why freedom and creativity is such a deep drive in human beings, this love of creating, of creating more freedom, of creating more evolution, right? So the whole thing that I want to get across here, is how to be relaxed with that process. So we already know how to do this. We did it when we were young. So in my courses, I often give the analogy of a small child, you know, learning to walk, you know, and sometimes it may crawl because it's easier. Sometimes it will get up and it'll just make those, and it'll often be smiling, you know, and like, oh, I'm going to walk, you know, right? But I guarantee you there's nothing inside that baby's head that's making an evaluation or a judgment about, oh, you know, why can't I walk, you know? Like, what's wrong with me? Try and get that sense of how we were as a child, you know? We trusted that evolutionary impulse and we knew we would get to the next step in our evolution. So this is really what the inner smile is all about. It's about recognizing there's a deeper level of will inside of us. And we have to keep tuning into that level of will, that soul level, that innocence inside of us that will just take us on our journey, right? So, you know, I really want to address this to people that have a lot of challenges in their life, especially people with very serious health problems and real difficulties with their health. So I just want to, you know, just open my heart and just send you all my compassion and all my love, because I know what it feels like when your body is really suffering, you know, and it's very frustrating. And, you know, just tuning into it, I can feel so much sadness around the world of all these people suffering with very difficult physical symptoms, okay? And so the tendency when you're like that is to hold on to anything outside of yourself. The personality will just look for anything, whether it's the latest diet, whether it's the latest guru, you know, anything to get well, to become well, you know. And so I want to just encourage you to trust that impulse to get well, but relax with the fight, you know, relax with the resistance, because there's obviously something very deep inside of you, some deep resistance, you know, that's creating this symptom on the outside, right? And there's nothing wrong with you. This doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you wrong. It just means that the level of resistance inside of you to the new you is quite strong, I would say. There's a protective mechanism involved there. So there's the other thing to understand about resistance, that oftentimes it's protecting us, because when we were very young, we developed beliefs that kept us safe, that kept us alive, you know. So my deep invitation to any of you that's suffering with something or really feeling stuck is to really trust, number one, the resistance, not to fight it, but to relax with it and just know that it's there, you know, and to allow this soul deep inside of you to smile at the personality, to smile at this fight that goes on in the personality, you know, this what I call positive ego and negative ego. Okay, positive ego and negative ego. And this inner smile part of you is like neutral ego. It's like it doesn't take sides. It recognizes that there's a growth process, that this is a natural process. And I would say to you that the bigger the resistance, the more serious the disease, the more possibility for great breakthrough and great transformation and love, a love that will serve the world, okay? A love that will serve the world through your own deep acceptance of the resistance, understanding the resistance, not seeing it as something that is there to hurt you, and recognizing that once you transform that belief, that particular belief you have about your resistance, once you transform it, something else will come in. There'll be some more resistance on its way. This process doesn't stop. If you look at the diagram, it just moves. So there's a quote here. It's one of my quotes, right? So, and I'm talking about the virtue of what I call absolute trust. This is how the baby lives. It lives in this virtue of absolute trust. So absolute trust is not a quality of the personality, which will personalize the virtue of absolute trust to trust in something or someone, a teaching or a master that is perceived as closer to the truth. All right. So this is what the personality does. It wants to trust in a system or a diet or a person or a system, right? And the whole purpose of your life, the whole purpose, as far as I can see, is the soul is learning how to trust source, how to trust life itself. So trust is an absolute built into the operating system of life itself. Therefore, it's built into every cell and every molecule of your body. So this is my deep mission in life, is to, one, become much more relaxed with my own growth process, to enjoy that growth process, to not fight it, to become comfortable with uncomfort. Because as far as I can see, it's the only way for our personality to let go, And so I just want all of you to feel that, to recognize you have a deeper level of will within you. And it's like the sun, and it's loving you so deeply. It's loving you so deeply and so unconditionally, and it's life itself. And you let that melt the war between the positive and negative inside of you. And this is what the alchemy meditations that I share with everyone teach us how to do. It's what OFT does. It's what the gene keys do as well. The gene keys show you this dance between the shadow and the light, And my work, my deep desire and deep longing, and it's coming from my soul, is to share with you insights that I've tested out in my own life, So to become more relaxed, more comfortable with uncomfort. I'm sending you, especially those of you with deep pain and high levels of frustration in your life, I'm sending you from my heart to yours the deepest love and compassion I can feel, because I know how that feels to have that resistance in your life. I know how it feels, and I love you. I love you because I know you're me. Thank you for listening.